London in 1666 is a tiny maze of timber houses leaning close, like they're sharing secrets. Narrow lanes trap heat, and thatched roofs sit above workshops full of oil, rope, and wood. It's busy, cozy, and dangerously flammable. One small mistake won't stay small in a city packed this tight. Inside every home, candles, hearths, ovens, and glowing coals. Fire is a helper here. Until it isn't. People know fires happen, but they trust neighbors and buckets more than planning. In this city, safety is mostly habit and hope. When flames appear, London doesn't have sirens or engines. It has bells, shouted warnings, and bucket lines that move slower than panic. The tools are simple, and the streets are tight. If wind shows up, the city has no good answer. The summer has baked the beams and boards until they're thirsty for a spark. Roofs are dry straw, walls are dry timber. Even the air feels ready to catch. London is a campfire waiting for someone to drop a coal. The houses don't just stand beside each other, they lean in. Flames don't need to leap far, they just reach. Once a roof catches, the next roof is practically already touching it. This city was built for trade, not for emergencies. As night falls, London quiets. Shops close. Candles flicker behind shutters. Most people sleep, not knowing that in a few hours they'll be running barefoot over hot cobbles, carrying their whole lives in their arms. Down on Pudding Lane, a bakery still works late. Bread must be made before sunrise. Ovens glow like small suns inside a wooden building, pressed tight against other wooden buildings. It's ordinary. That's the scary part. A single ember slips free. No thunder, no warning. Just a tiny orange dot landing where it shouldn't. In a stone city, that might be nothing. In wooden London, that dot is a starting gun. At first, it's just smoke and a strange smell. Someone coughs. Someone thinks it's normal baking. Those seconds matter, because the fire is already choosing its path upward. Suddenly, the quiet breaks. A shout. A crash. Flames climb the wall and grab the roof like it's been waiting. London's long night is over, and the chase begins. The bakery catches fast. Fire loves flour dust, dry beams, and air that can't escape. It crawls through rafters and pops out on the roof, turning a small room into a torch the whole street can see. People rush buckets to the flames, but water arrives in handfuls while the fire eats in mouthfuls. Then the wind arrives and tilts the flames sideways, turning defense into splashing nothing. A thatched roof catches like dry grass. Then the next. Fire doesn't spread like a line. It spreads like a wave, cresting over the rooftops and rolling forward. Bells ring and people shout directions that change every minute. In the maze of lanes, nobody can see the whole fire, only the part racing toward them. Confusion grows as fast as the smoke. Officials are told the only proven tactic: pull down houses to make a fire break. But pulling down houses means destroying someone's home on purpose. The decision stalls, and the fire keeps voting yes every second. The flames reach storerooms packed with wood, pitch, and goods. The heat surges. Sparks erupt like angry bees, and the glow grows brighter. Now the fire can feed itself. The wind strengthens and turns the fire into a moving wall. Embers fly far ahead, landing on roofs blocks away. People think they're safe, and then their roof starts smoking too. Morning arrives, but the sun has competition. The sky is orange, the air is thick, and Londoners realize this is not a house fire. This is the city on fire. People begin choosing what to save. A bundle of clothes, a chest of papers, a pet, a child's hand. Everything else gets left behind, because you can't carry a city. By now, nobody can find the start of the fire. It has become many fires connected by wind and wood. London isn't fighting one flame, it's fighting a monster made of rooftops. Lanes jam with carts, animals, and people on foot. In a tight street, one stuck wheel can trap hundreds. The fire doesn't get stuck, it just keeps coming. Many run to the River Thames. Boats become lifeboats. Barges fill with furniture, families, and anything that floats. The river turns into a moving refugee camp. Samuel Pepys watches, shocked, and starts writing. He isn't just seeing a fire. He's seeing London's memory burn. His diary becomes a tiny time machine for us. The heat becomes so intense, it makes its own wind. Flames roar, sparks spin, and people feel the air itself pulling toward the blaze. This isn't just burning. It's a storm made of fire. Stone churches don't burn easily, but everything inside them can. Wooden roofs, pews, and stored goods ignite, and towers become glowing beacons in the smoke. Old St. Paul's Cathedral stands huge and suddenly vulnerable. Scaffolding and stored materials around it become fuel. People stare, realizing even the unburnable can fall. Crews finally start pulling down houses, but the fire has already jumped ahead. Making a gap behind the flames is like closing a door after the thief has left. In chaos, some people help, and some steal. Trust cracks under pressure. A disaster doesn't only burn buildings, it tests what people do when rules disappear. By now, smoke blots out daylight. Ash drifts down like dirty snow. Londoners taste soot on their tongues and realize the city's air is changing with the fire. The fire throws an ember so far that new rooftops ignite in front of fleeing crowds. People run, stop, look back, and see another glow ahead. The fire is everywhere. The Lord Mayor is overwhelmed. The fire moves too fast, and every choice hurts someone. When leadership freezes, a city panics, and the flames get even more room to run. Pepys races to report to King Charles II. He's not being dramatic, he's being accurate. If the crown doesn't act, London could disappear. King Charles II steps in. He orders fire breaks, brings soldiers, and tries to impose order on chaos. It's the moment London realizes this is bigger than any neighborhood. Teams begin tearing down houses, not as punishment but as rescue. It feels cruel, but the idea is simple. No house, no fuel, no bridge for the flames. Even with fire breaks, wind pushes embers over gaps. A roof ignites on the safe side, and everyone groans. The fire stays one step ahead while London scrambles to catch up. Along the river, warehouses and docks burn bright. Goods explode into sparks, and the river reflects an orange nightmare. Boats crowd together, desperate for space. Old St. Paul's finally gives in. The heat is relentless, and when the great structure burns, Londoners feel like their city's heart is being ripped out. Without a single scream, just ash. In disasters, people look for someone to blame. Whispers spread, sabotage, enemies, conspiracies. Fear needs a target when it can't fight fire. As night returns, the fire paints the sky red. Londoners sleep in fields or on boats, staring at the glow, wondering if they'll have anything left by morning. By the end of this act, London is still on fire, but now at last, it's fighting back with plans, soldiers, and fire breaks. The question is whether it's too late. The fire becomes a moving wall that eats blocks at a time. People stop calling it the fire and start treating it like weather, something you can only flee. A family returns for one last bundle and finds only heat and falling ash. That's when many understand the city they knew is already gone, even while it's still standing. Pepys makes a tiny, very human decision. He buries valuables and even his cheese to save them from the fire. In a disaster, important becomes surprisingly personal. Soldiers try to keep order while the city falls apart. Some people help strangers, others take advantage. Disasters reveal both kinds of hearts at the same time. The heat becomes so strong that people can't get close. Metal warps, glass softens. The fire doesn't just burn wood, it changes materials, and that terrifies everyone. Even the river can't fully protect the city. Sparks land on boats and riverside structures, and new fires start where people thought water meant safety. The soundtrack becomes crackles, crashes, and distant shouting. Then suddenly, a building falls and everything goes quiet for a heartbeat. London is listening to itself collapse. Crews widen fire breaks with hooks, axes, and explosions. It's ugly work, but each cleared gap is a line drawn against the flames. Then the wind shifts. Not a full stop, just enough to change the fire's direction. London gets its first hint that the monster can be slowed. The fire still rages, but now London is fighting for specific lines. This street, that bridge, this churchyard. Survival becomes a map of tiny wins. Gunpowder becomes London's last resort tool. Blow up houses ahead of the flames to steal its food. It's terrifying, but it works when nothing else does. King Charles II stays close to the action, directing crews and pushing decisions through. In Tiny Titan's terms, leadership shows up when it matters most. For the first time, the flames hit a wide gap and stall. They lick at rubble, searching for something to eat, and find nothing. That's the moment hope returns. The ash still falls, but less fiercely. The smoke still stings, but the roar isn't everywhere. People dare to believe the city might stop burning. Teams chase spot fires before they grow. Buckets matter again. Hooks matter again. London's tools are still simple, but now they're being used with speed and coordination. Dawn arrives and the skyline is still smoky, but the fire no longer looks like a single marching army. It's scattered, weakened, and finally losing. Eventually, the main blaze is stopped. Not undone, stopped. London is still hot, still dangerous, still smoking. But the monster is no longer advancing. Now the counting begins. Streets gone, churches gone, markets gone. The city feels hollow, like someone scooped it out with a giant spoon. People search for family, neighbors, and familiar landmarks that no longer exist. A city is more than buildings, and Londoners start rebuilding the more first. Community. This is the turning point of the story. Disaster forced London to change. The next act isn't about flames. It's about what the flames left behind. Tens of thousands camp outside the ruins. Fields become neighborhoods. Blankets become roofs. Everyone stares at the smoke and tries to imagine a normal that no longer exists. Survival becomes practical. Water, bread, shelter. Those who lost everything still need breakfast. Tiny Titan's truth. History changes through logistics. Akes writes again, not just what he saw, but what it felt like. The fire didn't only burn wood, it burned certainty. His words help us hear the silence after the roar. In the aftermath, people still blame, argue, and speculate, but hunger and cold don't care about rumors. The city must be fed, or the tragedy continues without flames. People return to the ruins to find anything, a key, a pot, a piece of a sign. Often they find only ash, and the shape of where their home used to be. Officials investigate causes and punish looters. It's messy, because disaster doesn't come with a neat villain. The fire's crime was the city's design. Some stone walls stand. Some churches' foundations remain. The river still flows. These surviving pieces become anchors for rebuilding, tiny islands in a sea of rubble. People begin saying it out loud, we can't rebuild the same way. Timber and thatch are too eager to burn. The fire becomes a teacher nobody asked for. London grieves like a person does, in waves. One day you're busy. The next day you remember what's missing, and it hits you again. Recovery is not a straight line. But London is stubborn. The same crowded energy that made it fragile also makes it resilient. When the smoke finally clears, the rebuilding begins. Rebuilding starts with measuring. Surveyors mark wider streets and safer layouts. London learns that planning is a kind of armor. New rules push stone and brick. It's slower and heavier, but it doesn't ignite like straw. The city trades speed for safety, a deal it should have made earlier. King Charles II supports rebuilding and order, helping the city move from emergency to future. Even after disaster, leadership matters in the quiet months. Pepys watches the city transform. His diary captures something rare. The moment a medieval city becomes a modern one, not by choice, but by fire. New rules change daily life. Safer materials, wider lanes, better access. London builds memory into law, so the next fire won't run as far. Old St. Paul's have gone, but the idea of it is plans for a new cathedral rise, a symbol that London refuses to stay down. Wider streets change how the city breathes. Crowds move differently. Goods move differently. The rebuilt London is still busy, but less trapped. The Great Fire becomes a story parents tell and officials remember. It shapes how cities think about materials, spacing, and public safety. The fire destroyed medieval London, but it also forced a rebirth. Out of ash came planning, stone, and new rules that changed urban life forever. Tiny Titans Takeaway: disasters don't just break things, they reveal weak designs. London's fire turned a wooden maze into a city that learned to build smarter.